So I am down here in Palmanova to celebrate a very special day here in the resort. We're here to check out the St George's Day celebrations. Now I'm starting the video here on the far side of Son Matias Beach, but everything is taking place a little bit further on in the resort. So we're going to turn the camera around and head on through and go and see what's going on today. Okay, so before I continue around the point here, I've just bumped into Andrew from Scarborough. Okay, so you are a long-term visitor over here in Palmanova.
Yes, something like 20 years, with a hiatus for the COVID years, but we're back now and enjoying it.
What do you think have been the main changes that you've seen over here?
Well, the demographic, there are fewer English people, I think.
Yeah.
More Danes, more Scandinavians than last time. A few new buildings and so on. Lots of the bars have changed. I notice some of the pubs that used to sell exclusively English beer are now selling German beer and Scandinavian.
Okay, so it's appealing more multiculturally.
It's more.
Yeah. Okay, so have you been over to the St George's Day celebrations just yet?
No, but we'll do that later today.
You're going to do that right now?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to go and do the same.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
Before you go, let me just say this is a wonderful channel. We watch it religiously every Monday for updates and for your live broadcasts and so on.
Oh, bless you. Oh, thank you very much.
You deserve it.
Thank you very much for saying that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Will do. Bye-bye.
Bye. So we've got a little bit of a grey and gloomy day over here in Palmanova. It did start off as sunny this morning, but the sun will be out later on this week. Now, I did have trouble parking today because, of course, Palmanova is very, very busy with the St George's Day celebrations. Just coming up by the Turtle Beach here, we could hear a little bit of drilling taking place, but renovations are underway. Let's head on up around the Globales Hotel. So we've got highs today of about 19 degrees Celsius. It's not stopping a lot of people from going to the beach, actually. We've got a few people down here on the sands, got a few people in the water too. We've also got the water sports centre all set up. So, St George's Day this year was celebrated on the 23rd of April, but it's also celebrated here in Spain. It's called the Dia de San Jordi, and last Saturday in Palmanova we had the traditional giving of books, and we had a flower market as well, and that's what happens over here on St George's Day in Spain. You see little book markets popping up all over the island where residents or holiday makers will buy Spanish books and flowers and give it to a loved one. It's kind of like almost like a kind of alternative Valentine's Day event. But things are very different in the UK, because the only thing I saw celebrated about St George's Day was a few flags out at duty free over in Bristol Airport as we were coming through. Go and check out that flight video, by the way, if you haven't seen it. But over here in Palmanova, Calvia Town Hall has decided to recognise the English community over here, and we're celebrating St George's Day. There's going to be a market, there's going to be a big main stage, and there's going to be lots of live events taking place later. So we're going to take a walk through, we're going to go and check it out, but keep watching on into this video because there are going to be other opportunities throughout the summer where you can experience a market and some live events, and I'll give you that information a little bit later on. But for now, let's turn the camera around and let's take a look down behind Palmanova Beach. So we're just coming down to the restaurants here behind Palmanova Beach, and they're very, very busy this afternoon. Just rolling on into lunchtime. And it's nice to see the resort so busy, actually. I'm quite surprised because there are other areas of the island that are very, very quiet at the moment. But those will get busier as we roll on into May. But look, everything is up and running over here in Palmanova. All the beach umbrellas out, we've got the chiringuitos out, and the beach services too, including little water sports centres. Anyway, let's keep heading on along the beach. So I can start to hear the music thumping now. Whenever we have any live events taking place over here in Palmanova, they normally start right behind this Il Chiringo beach bar here, right by the little kids playground, right behind Palmanova Beach. So just looking over the beach here, look at all the volleyball nets out. Got lots of happy holiday makers also in the Chiringo, but look to my left-hand side. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely packed. And how wonderful as well to see this taking place over here in Palmanova. Now it's quite interesting what Andrew said earlier on in this video, that the demographic here is changing ever so slightly. In Palmanova we're seeing a much more international crowd coming here to holiday, but at the same time English visitors that we have here and the English residents too have been acknowledged by Calvia Town Hall, and this is why this celebration is taking place today. So we've got the little kiddies roundabout here in the kids park, but right in front of me we've got the first of the big live stages where we're going to see concerts taking place this evening from around 4 p.m. It's going to be very, very lively down here in Palmanova. And if you just come up towards Reflex and I turn my camera around, I can see what looks like a St George's Day procession coming towards me. Look at this, look, we've got the English flags lining the main road down here in Palmanova. Whoever said that Brits weren't welcome over here in Mallorca, well, I think they have to be wrong. Because I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, these celebrations taking place for St George's Day in Spain are probably bigger than many of the events that have taken place in the UK. In fact, comment below if you have seen any St George's Day celebrations taking place in England this week. So this is St George's Day with a little bit of a Spanish touch. We've got plenty of Spanish music playing as well. So I've got no idea what's going on here, but somehow I think they're retelling the story of George and the Dragon. I should know, I am British, but this is done in a very different way. But I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I love the culture and tradition that we have over here in Spain.
¡Pescadora! ¡Eres una pescadora! ¡Te limpiaré los pescados! ¡Sí! ¡Te limpiaré los pescados, pecadora!
Somehow I just got street cleans then. I don't know what was going on there, but anyway, I love it. Let's keep heading on down through the market. And look, this is the start of the market. So let's just take a walk down through the St George's Day market. Now, if you are visiting Palmanova this summer, we have a market right here in this very spot actually. Well, the stalls are set back a little bit further towards this wall, but we have a nightly market taking place in Palmanova throughout the summer, and that normally starts around peak season, around June time. We start to see a few stalls coming out during June, and then it's pretty much nightly during July and August. Setup tends to be at around sort of 6:30, 7 p.m. The stalls are taken down at around 10 p.m. and it's a great opportunity to come and pick up a few souvenirs, a few kids' toys, some jewellery. And it's a really nice addition to your summer holiday. So much of the north of the island is currently cordoned off today because we have a huge cycling event taking place. We've got the 312, which you're going to know all about actually if you watch my Monday update, which probably explains why we've got so many visitors over here to Palmanova and so many holiday makers that have come into the resort for the day. It's absolutely packed down here. So this market is absolutely huge, and there are only going to be a few other occasions where we're going to see the market looking this big over here in Palmanova during the summer. The little summer night market that we do have is a lot smaller, still very nice, but it's not quite as big as this. So just quickly turn the camera back around and just take a quick look down the marketplace here in Palmanova. So that was Palmanova Beach. Let's go and check out what's going on down Escargador Beach. See if that's also quite busy today. And as we come to the beginning of Escargador Beach, we can see, well, things are going on as normal down here. So the St George's Day celebrations over here in Palmanova have been centred all the way along the back of Palmanova Beach. Of course, they've got that big main stage as well with the live acts, which will take place from around 4 p.m, running on to around 10, 11-ish this evening. So let's go and get a few nicer views. Let's head on up the steps here and I'll give you a little bit more information about what other events are taking place in Palmanova this summer. Okay, so what else is going on in Palmanova for this summer? Well, next up on the events calendar, we've got Europe Day taking place on the weekend of the 10th of May. And that's going to take place right behind me, right behind Escargador Beach. You're going to see a huge market once again, and also you're going to see a live music stage too. We then roll on to the Noche de San Juan, or the Night of San Juan, and that takes place on the 23rd of June. Now, I seem to remember last year, I think there were some live music events, and also you're going to find around the islands as well, it's a time when people head on down to the beaches, they light little fires or they take candles down to the beach, and that's also a very, very nice night. But I'm pretty sure we're going to have events taking place over here in Palmanova, so I'm going to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. I shall bring you more information when I know it as we roll on into the month of June. Also, in the middle of August, we're going to see the summer fiestas take place all over the islands, but also down here in Palmanova too. I don't have a date for that either just yet, but it normally takes place around somewhere between the 10th to the 15th of August, and that is when we see some fantastic evening entertainment plus food displays plus big paellas being served as well. It's a really, really nice night, so if you're over here during the month of August, you're going to hopefully catch that too. But that is not all, because in the whole Calvia municipality, actually, they go all out on celebrating traditional fiestas, and they're as much for you guys coming over here on holiday as they are for us residents. Don't forget about the Festas de Rey in Jaume, which take place in around the first week of September as well, down in Santa Ponsa too. That's a huge event, and in fact you can go back and check the content on my channel if you're hoping to head to Santa Ponsa at the beginning of September. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching this video. I will be back on a much sunnier day. I am very conscious actually that I filmed my most recent content over in Palmanova on a very cloudy day, and we have had some lovely days just in the past few days actually, and we're going to be getting some lovely weather next week. Don't forget, I'm going to have my full weather forecast coming up on Monday as well, so make sure you check out that video. But in the meantime, check out these videos appearing both here and here on YouTube. And you can also find me on my Facebook and my Instagram, also called Mallorca Under the Sun. And in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Goodbye for now.